Let's see. We can get it up running. Hey, we're live. We're live. ZW, we're on camera. Would you please stop acting like such a crazy person? Like, try to tone it down for the next 30 minutes, okay?
Man, look, it's going to be hard.
I know
I can do it. I can do it. Maybe.
Probably not.
Z gonna Z. You know that. Z gonna Z.
That's right. Hey, welcome back. We're on a Friday night, not a Thursday night again. Schedule's been a little weird. Got a little stuff going on in our life. I got my boy ZW. You guys know him that watch the channel. That is Z's nephew, Mr. Keaton Bush.
Yes, sir.
Keaton Bush. Zach's nephew right there. So, all part of the family, all part of the love. So, we're going to talk to you guys about a little bit of fishing baits. We're also going to talk to you guys about a little bit of football. Because the reason these guys are here is we're actually doing a fantasy football draft at my house tomorrow. So they're staying the night here tonight. We're going to go play golf in the morning. And, yeah.
It's going to be an event, baby. It's not just a draft. Come on. Hey, give the people what they expect from your Lake Fork Guide channel. This is an event. It's not a draft, it's an event. That's
100% correct. We actually, so we're hanging out tonight. We'll talk trash to each other tonight, but then tomorrow it starts. We're starting off with golf in the morning. There's going to be 5 points in week 1 up for grabs in the golf match for whoever wins that. Then we got a draft competition to see what order we draft in.
That's right. Cornhole.
Cornhole tournament, double elimination tournament to see how the draft order goes. Then after all of that, we're going to have a draft.
It's going to be a long day, baby.
And we're going to document all of it so you guys can take part in the debauchery that is the Brown Balls and Beer Football League.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
By the way, I've got my name on the trophy. You've got your name on the trophy.
And my name will be there at the end of this year.
Oh, look.
Yes, sir.
Oh, rookie over here.
Just get to them rookie duties, baby. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Go sweep up.
See, we're going to have to haze him. You know it?
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely going to have to haze him. So, can I get a shout-out? Fishing with Jason, the bass catcher. I can't read all your name, but yeah, Jason, the bass catcher. What's up?
Thanks for joining, baby.
That's right. Shout out to you, big dog.
Keep catching them bass, Jason.
So let's talk about the fishing a little bit, because I know that's really why you guys come here for fishing and stuff. Because the fantasy football advice that will take place on this channel is absolutely worthless. Yeah. And the fishing advice is not much better, but it's a little bit better.
It's a little better.
Not much.
I might be able to put you on 1 or 2. We ain't giving you no draft picks, but we'll put you on old bucket mouth.
Yep. So, guys, it is turnover has gone on in part of the lake, the down south main lake. It's kind of in limbo. We got back hot again. And so there's a little bit of an in-between phase going on right now with that. But that has kind of put the fish in an in-between phase. And there's seems to be more and more fish trying to move into these, what I call transition stop signs, where they're trying to move shallow. They're getting up shallow, but they're not migrating yet. They're just kind of getting on something. And whether it be a secondary point or a dock or just something. It's tough because they're just kind of stagnant. They're not really aggressive. They're not really ready to feed. They're not really moving around. So it's a grind of a bite right now. But the big deal for me, the biggest deal has been shade lines. And that can be created by grass edges. And when I say grass, I'm actually not talking about the grass I normally talk about, which is hydrilla and coontail. I'm actually talking about flooded grass like pondweed or gatorweed or duckweed, stuff like that. It creates a hard shade line. And then, of course, docks have become a little bit of a deal here, too, with the shade line being a big deal. If you can find those things associated with a secondary point at the mouth of a creek, that seems to be your best bet right now. And with a dock, the more depth it has on it in that situation, the better. That being said, when the fishing's tough, there's one bait that's better than all others. When it gets tough, the very best grinded out bait, in my opinion,
imagine this, people,
is ZW's very favorite bait, the old wacky worm. Wacky rig trick worm. That's the Gamakatsu Finesse Wide Gap Weedless 1/0 hook. That is a watermelon candy trick worm. That's been my best color. I got a half a nail weight in the head. And that is just the way ZW taught me to do it right there.
That's how we do it, baby.
Oh, Keaton's back there because see, Zach taught him. And so Keaton, that's all he knows how to do is wacky worm too. If you come from the Watts stock, the only way that you really know how to catch bass is with a wacky worm. Everything else, if they catch it on any other lure, it's a pure accident.
Straight accident. I mean, you know, if I catch a fish on a crankbait or a spinnerbait, it's because I accidentally hit them upside the head with it. They just got aggravated.
I know that's right with you, Z. I know it is. You know, there's around those same shade lines, there is a little bit of a frog bite when the fish turn on a little bit better than some other times. So there is a little bit of a frog bite. There's not much else going on other than that, guys. There's probably some deep stuff. I've been sticking mostly to that shallow stuff because I feel like there's enough fish there now and there's more fish coming to me. I'll be able to catch them on those transition points as we go through the turnover, through the month of September. Then as we get to the end of September, start setting up in fall, it'll change. But for right now, all those transition points will be this transition stop signs will be the big deal for me. So I hope that helps. What else? What y'all got? Anything about fishing to add?
Yeah, how would you feel about flipping or skipping a little finesse jig up under a dot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That might be a way to get just a hair bit bigger bite than what that wacky worm's gonna
sure
give you. I mean, wacky worm's gonna give you quantity. Mm-hmm. It might not give you the quality you're looking for, right. Even though we've proven that wrong. But hey, you might have to fight through a couple of 1-pounders to get that 6 or 7. I mean, it's just way.
That's true, but we have been getting some of those. Sometimes you fish a wacky worm and all you catch is rats. You don't catch the better fish on it. But here lately, because the bite is tough on all the fish of all sizes, even those better fish are biting that finesse presentation of the wacky worm. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying a finesse jig. It's just right now that super slow deal, that finesse deal with the wacky worm is working. And when it's a tough ground bite, I just got more faith in that than I do anything else.
Well, going back to what you said a minute ago about how, some days you go out there with the wacky worm and all you do is catches the little dinks and the rats. But if you do find a concentration of those smaller fish, there's going to be some bigger fish around. You might have to switch it up a little bit, change to a finesse jig, or maybe even a little bit bigger profile. Instead of a trick worm on your wacky, throw a Cinco out there wacky. That may get you a bigger bite.
There's also something else I'm going to be doing. I'm going to take a whole nail weight. I'm going to shove it in the head of old Big Perm. I'm going to get a little with it. I'm going to get a little. No, I'm just going to take the whole nail weight because it's got a lot of flotation in Big Perm.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to get a little bit bigger. Same hook. I'm going to go out to finesse white gap weedless. Get a bigger version of that, maybe a 2-aught. Probably big enough with the 2-aught. And wacky rig that for a bigger profile if I want to catch a bigger one. I'm going to start throwing that, especially maybe not right now on the bite so tough. When we get to that spring wacky season, that prime wacky season, I'm going to go to that big, because that thing's a giant trick worm is what it is.
Boy, and the buoyancy.
The action of it,
buoyancy of that bait is amazing.
So I'm going to be using that for the bigger bite on a wacky worm if that's what I'm trying to do, versus the Cinco, which is what we've always gone to in the past.
Right. Keaton, you got anything to add?
Hey, we appreciate all the content you're throwing in there.
He's not the best color man in the business. For no reason, folks.
No, y'all covered everything. Wacky worm is my #1 go-to bait. It doesn't matter if it's a little fish, big fish, pond, lake, everything. Wacky worm's first round draft pick.
Now take that for granted.
The first round draft pick.
Yeah, the first round draft pick, baby. Hey. Take that with a grain of salt, baby. He does come from the Watts mold. So
that's all they throw.
But
that's all they throw. All right, somebody asked, what size impact shad on the old chatterbait? I'm using the 5-inch impact shad for my chatterbait trailers. Chase Clark caught a 22-pound flathead on Big Perm on Monticello last week.
Dang it. I bet you that was fun.
Yeah, it was. ZW's 10-pounder on the wacky. How many over 10-pound fish have you caught on wacky rig now? 3 or 2?
3.
3 over 10 on wacky rig for Z at this point.
I caught 11.4. A 10.2 and that 10.6 on camera. Well, hell, they all been on camera, haven't they?
Well, you caught a 10 flat. You caught a 10.0.
That's right. You're right about that.
When I was next to you. Creek mouth ledges. That's right. Somebody says, "What's up, goat guide?" That ain't the abbreviation. It ain't for the abbreviation of goat. It's for the meh.
hey, who coined that phrase, goat guide?
That would be Dylan. Watch your son.
It's true.
That dude come up with a good one every now and then.
Old Chase that caught the catfish said 10-minute fight was a doozy.
Oh, I bet you that was fun. So that brings me back, Chase. When I met Billy.
Oh, the first day we ever met.
When I met Billy, what was it, 5-6 years ago?
Longer than that. At this point.
Dylan was knee-high to a grasshopper. He was fishing in his first ever tournament.
How old is Dylan now?
Dylan's 20.
Dylan was 12.
Okay, so that's 8 years ago. My Lord. So Billy used to run tournaments.
I used to host open jackpot tournaments.
Kind of fun tournaments, nothing serious. Everybody get together. Everybody just have a good time. Well, I saw it. Billy posted about it, and I brought my son. And Dylan ended up almost winning the big bass of the day there, but that's not the story here. The story here is I was fishing a wacky worm out in 17 foot of water in some sunken brush that I had found on Lake Holbrook, and I caught a 20, 30, 40. I don't know. We didn't weigh it.
I think that one was like a 40.
And that sucker was literally that long.
The head wouldn't even get
and
in
that
your
wide.
neck. The head
of the fish would not get on my get in my neck. And so I know, Chase, what you went through, the excitement. That is awesome. And then it brings you to the disappointment of, God, it's a catfish. So I've been there, buddy. I hear you, man. That's awesome.
Oh, yep. I remember that like it was yesterday. That was the day we met, man.
That was the day we met.
Ago. That was the beginning of the end for the both of us right there.
Ooh, that's the day that old Nighthawk and Dragon came together. Did we just become best friends?
Yep. You want to do some karate in the garage?
Oh, man, we're going to do that as soon as this feed's over. Right. We're going to do karate in the garage.
All right, so we've talked about some fishing. There's not too many fishing. What's the best lure in a pond? Honestly, the wacky worm's the best lure in a pond. It's kind of ironic that we're talking about it, but it's true. That is easily the best pond lure. There's no doubt. Let's talk a little football, man.
Let's talk some football.
I know everybody's ready. Fantasy football. I love football. I know everybody pretty much. Especially if you live in Texas, like everybody loves football.
How many of you guys out there that are watching tonight are playing fantasy football? Maybe have your draft tomorrow or next weekend. Give us a thumbs up if you're playing fantasy football.
Chase Clark says on the catfish says hashtag lake record fail. Ooh. It had a lake record till it got to the boat, boys. Somebody said roll tide.
No, sir.
They're from South Louisiana.
Go Tigers.
You ain't getting no love.
Go Tigers, baby. I don't hear nothing about that tide. I will give credit where credit's due, though. Y'all are...
so we got a lot of football guys. We got some thumbs popping in. Some football is religion in Texas, all that type of stuff. What is my favorite team? My favorite team traditionally has been the Cowboys as a kid growing up. We didn't have a team. The Oilers left when I was very young. So growing up in the state of Texas, all I had was the Cowboys. Then they won 3 Super Bowls, so I really liked them.
Mm-hmm. Then they got Jerry.
Then Jerry, as time went on, Jerry kind of does what Jerry does. And, I kind of got 2 favorites. I'm from the Houston area, so when they came around, the Texans, obviously that's now my original hometown team.
Right.
Even though I wasn't living there very long while they were there, so I still kind of pulled for them. So I kind of have both. I know these boys, Saints. What about you?
I'm actually a Ravens fan.
You're a Ravens fan.
Only because of Ed Reed, who is from South Louisiana.
That's your hand.
So, it goes hand in hand a little bit.
Well,
who dat, baby?
There you go. Saints Nation right here. I'm a mixture of both Texas teams. If I had put a gun to my head, tell me which one I want to win when they play each other, I'm pulling for the Texans these days. I'll be honest with you. The Cowboys lost me when they signed T.O. After he went and stomped all over the Star, then you're going to sign that guy? Like, that kind of burnt my bridge with the Cowboys. On top of that, having all the talent they had when they had the 13 Pro Bowlers, when they had Tony Romo, Marion Barber. They had all that talent. And they shot themselves in the foot so much I just got sick of watching them. I don't know. I know you didn't watch them as religiously as I did back then, but they would have so many penalties and so many turnovers, and they would just beat themselves every time a big game came up. I just got tired of watching the Cowboys. They just were unwatchable for me. And so, I'm happy that they're doing better now, but it's never going to be the same for me.
No, I'll be honest with you, too. I think Jerry Jones is a brilliant businessman.
He's hard to like, though.
I don't necessarily think he's a great GM. Now, I'm probably going to aggravate a lot of your Cowboys fans in the audience tonight, but, Dallas is almost kind of has the feeling of a last chance you. Jerry's given second chances to a lot of these people, like T.O., like Hardy, who came in with the domestic violence allegations to begin with. We can change him. We can turn him right. Jerry's like a woman trying to fix a man. You can't change them. They are what they are. It is what it is, baby.
They're hard to watch, man. They're hard to get behind.
But I will take Zeke Elliott if I have one of the top 3 or 4 picks. I will take him.
Not if I have a pick in front of you, you won't.
I will take Zeke all day long. And for everybody out there that's got a draft coming up, spoiler alert, Alan Hearn is probably one of your better sleepers in the draft. I'm going to tell you that.
Number 1 receiver on the team, and he's ranked in the overall list past 100.
Oh yeah, no,
ridiculous.
He's down there.
Yeah. So I honestly, who I'm a fan of these days, and one of the reasons I do love and get so excited for fantasy football is that I love whoever I draft on my fantasy team. That's who I'm pulling for. I don't even care who wins the Super Bowl, but I care who catches my touchdown.
That's exactly right. I'm a diehard Saints fan through and through. Until I got into fantasy, I could give two craps what anybody on any other team did. But now that I do fantasy, it forces me to root for St. Larry Fitzgerald for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Catch the ball, fool! You know?
It's great. It makes everything.
Yeah,
I think that's why
fun.
fantasy has become so successful and such a popular game is because it makes every single game interesting. And you get invested in every game on TV because you're either playing somebody on one team or the other, or your opponent's playing somebody on one team or the other. So there's always something going on. Running backs. It's the deepest year for elite running backs that I can remember.
Hands down.
I cannot remember. Like, there's literally 7 different guys, as I broke it down and looked at it. There are 7 different guys that if I had the number 1 overall pick and I didn't get to pick it, Zach, you get to pick my number 1 pick. And you give me 7 different guys that you could get, and I'd be like, good job, Z. You know? Like, there's never been that many running backs that are just that elite. It's unbelievable. You got, to me, Fournette's in that group. Kamara's in that group. Saquon Barkley, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, and Z. There's 7 guys that I'm cool with it. So the cornhole tournament really means nothing.
I would even throw Melvin Gordon into that discussion.
Yeah, I've got him a step behind those 7, but he's close. He's close.
Only because he was my number 1 running back last year, and in case y'all didn't hear, defending champ.
So that being said, we'll tie this in and give a little plug here. I actually did a football fantasy draft prep video where I talk about fantasy football a lot. We're going to do a little fantasy football series with this league because bottom line is we want to bring y'all in and share the journey that is the Brown Balls and Beer Football League because it is a lot of fun. And you can't have feelings. You better not be sensitive when you watch these videos because there will be some serious next level trash talk going on in every one of them. But
it's already started. I mean, it started like 3 weeks ago. We started talking smack back and forth. We ain't even picked the player yet, but we talking smack.
There is a group text that you cannot. I could not share it with y'all. It is
not safe for work, baby. NSFW.
That's it. Not safe for work. Saquon and Zeke are going to be dominant. I can't disagree with that at all.
I don't disagree with that.
That being said, after you get past those first tier running backs, boy, you better get at least one of them first tier, and you better have one in the next tier, because there's a big point gap once you get down the list on running backs. But
so I was just about to talk about that. I agree with you. There's 7 or 8, in my opinion, elite running backs that you got to have that you would love to have on your team, and then past that. It's not really a crapshoot, but it's kind of a crapshoot. And then when you go first, the next step down is 100% crapshoot. Mm-hmm. Now, in my opinion, wide receiver is so much deeper this year than everything else. I mean, you've got guys that are ranked 116 that are kind of being overlooked, but they're going to give you 8-10 points every week.
I couldn't agree more. I actually calculated the point differential from last year, and from 1 to 20, which is your starters, because you got 2 starters, 10 teams in the league. From 1 to 20, the point difference in running back is 11.05. In receivers, it's 5 something. It's more than double in running back. So somebody's telling me, get off the football. Most people can't stand them anymore. I don't really like them either, but it's football. Like, here's the thing. So let me go ahead and put this out there. For anybody that's wondering about the whole protesting the national anthem thing, let me go ahead and state this for the record. I have, and you have, by the way, but I certainly have as much right as anybody in this country to make a political stance or say what is fair or unfair about somebody saying something bad about this country, because I've been to Iraq. I served in the United States Marine Corps. I did my time, and I don't want nothing for it, but I'm just saying, I think I've earned the right to have an opinion on it. For everybody that's actually fought the fight, that's been there, the guys that have been where I've been, Thank you, by the way. Yeah, you're welcome. Shut up. I promise you. I promise you, every single guy that's been where I've been feels this way. I stood up and fought for their right to do exactly what they're doing. If they want to protest, they can protest. They ain't hurting nobody. They ain't changing your Sunday. Go grab you a new beer, go get an extra hot dog, and calm down. They have a right to voice their opinion and do their thing. I have a right to tell them, you're a freaking idiot for doing that, but they have the right to voice their opinion and make their statement heard. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean you have to like it. You don't have to boycott football. You can still like football and be a patriot if there's people kneeling during the anthem. Just because he's an idiot doesn't mean that you don't get to like football anymore. That's where I am. Sorry.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I'd like to know how many of those idiots took knees and protested during the off season when the cameras wasn't on them.
They're idiots. That's all it is. It's all about PR and grabbing attention.
Yeah.
And
Look at me.
And here's the funny part about it is all you guys are like, well, I'm going to protest. I'm going to protest. And everybody's, you know what everybody's talking about, whether you like football or you don't? You're talking about football now. Even people that don't like football are drawn to pay attention to football in some capacity.
Now, I will say this. I love fantasy just for the excitement of being able to talk crap when I beat Billy in the semifinal round of the playoff when he had the number one team all year, but his quarterback only got 6 points that week. I love fantasy, but I absolutely live for Saturdays. I love college football. I love going to games. I love watching games. If I'm not at a game tailgating, then I have 15 people out on my deck with a fire going and a big TV, and it's just, that's where I'm
So here's a comment. I can't protest at work. I would get fired. They are at work. Well, hey, and I know that Five Keepers, you're one of the best viewers on the channel, and I love you, brother. I appreciate everything, but at the same time, you're not getting paid $6 million a year to do your job, or you could probably get away with it.
Well,
I'm just saying.
And it's a difference of being that your boss wouldn't allow you to protest at work. Their bosses, their owners, the NFLPA, they're actually allowing them to protest, which I personally don't agree with them. I mean, it's a company. It's no different than Microsoft to me. The Dallas Cowboys, for example, to me, is no different of a company than what Microsoft is. And, if you pulled some of these shenanigans in Microsoft, you'd be fired on Monday. Why are these owners letting them do that? Which I believe Jerry has already said, we're standing for the anthem, no ands, ifs, or buts.
Yeah, and that's great. And it is his team, and it is. My point is, somebody else said, what was it? It's rude and disrespectful to those that have served the country. I'm part of that gun club. I don't feel disrespected. They're not disrespecting the military. They're taking a political stance on something that, by the way, I completely disagree with. This whole thing about cops being bad and blah, 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 I completely disagree with the premise. I don't want to get into the whole political thing because we go on and on about that. I think that the facts show that their argument is just overblown, media-driven BS. But they have a right to voice their opinion and do whatever they want to do. I don't get offended by that. Now, if they were saying our military is unjust and if they were saying something about the military, then the veterans would all be offended. But they're not saying anything bad about the military. They haven't said anything about the military in this whole NFL protest thing. It's completely unrelated. I don't get why people go there with it. Just because they're protesting one thing, they think it means they're disrespecting the entire country.
So, can I add to that?
Yeah.
This time of year, if we're looking for shade lines, what color wacky worm do you prefer over the other?
Well, the watermelon.
I agree. Let's get back to fishing, baby.
Yeah, watermelon candy has been the best. It has been the best.
So, is that on a sunny day?
Yes.
Or
all the
cloudy
days,
as well?
All the days have been sunny the last couple of weeks.
Right,
so,
right. But if you get an overcast, will you switch to green pumpkin?
I
Try that?
I like green pumpkin with blue or purple flake, either one.
Okay, green pumpkin with purple flake. Go Tigers. Go Tide!
Yeah. So that's really funny because now there's people that are saying they're leaving the channel, they're unsubscribing because I have a different political opinion on something or I have a different viewpoint on a football protest stance. And if that is what you want to leave for, then that's fine. Go ahead and leave because we are not closed-minded in my house. We are open-minded and people are allowed to have their opinions. And you know what? Just because somebody's a liberal doesn't mean I'm going to tell them they're a bad person. I'm going to tell them I think that your stance is kind of ignorant and not really well educated and I don't agree with it at all. But you're still a good person as long as you're a good person. Like, I'm still the same guy that tries to help you with fishing every week and does everything I can for you. You don't got to unsubscribe to the channel because you don't agree with one view on one hot topic. But that's fine. It's your right to do that, so that's fine.
What other kind of? You got any more questions?
Toledo Bend is better than Lake Fork. Sometimes, but not for big fish. Z, Toledo Bend's your favorite pond on the planet. Which one's better per acre for 7-pound bass and bigger?
Lake Fork.
No doubt. 100%. It's the greatest of all time. It's been proven.
Easily. And I agree with that. I love if I'm fortunate enough to have enough money when I retire to buy a place on Toledo Bend, that's where you're gonna find ZW. So all the ZW fans out there, please feel free to come on to Toledo Bend. We'll go fishing because my old lady don't fish, and so I'll have an empty spot in the boat.
Joe LeBear says, I'm unsubscribing because you're too old to wear your hat backwards. Well played, sir. Fair point. But it's fun. Awesome. This is my draft look, by the way. This is my getting ready for the fantasy football draft look.
Right.
Yeah. Or when I'm going.
Which, to be honest with you people, it might be a little bit unfair to you guys this weekend because our mind is really on the draft.
That's also a fair point.
That's where my mind is. I'll be fishing Sunday, though, after the draft. But right now, I'm thinking about who I'm going to take first pick. Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette with the first pick. He's reaching already, folks, and we ain't even got to the draft yet.
What else we got out there?
Somebody's getting on you about your Fournette reach, Z.
Hey, look.
So, top 5 recap. Let's get some. Here we go. Sorry.
I don't disagree with that Fournette animosity because he never played a full year at LSU because of injuries. He didn't play a full year last year, his rookie year. But I mean, I'm almost willing to take a chance. I mean, the kid's just too good. Now, if I have a chance to take Zeke or Saquon or Gurley or Le'Veon Bell over Leonard, of course I will.
No, there we go. We're back on fishing now. Wire Fork and Tiwak still pretty murky. Last summer the water was a lot better. Well, we kind of did some. I'm sorry, lost my train of thought trying to read another comment. That's what happens. The turnover. 2 weeks ago, we had some rain, some cool weather. Caused the lake turnover. That always stirs up the water color. So right now in particular, that's probably why you're seeing that. The water was pretty clear like at the end of July before that happened. So I think that's probably what you're seeing.
Well, now, did we get some rain a little bit north of us last week?
We got we've been having rain all around us for several weeks off and on. So we had heavy rain on the lake, which started up, and then the turnover caused mud, and then we had a little bit of runoff. And so all that stuff adds color to the water. Will we do some apparel with the Texas flag on it? Absolutely. I'm actually in contact, supposed to have a meeting with a phone meeting with a guy on Monday to try and work on some apparel stuff, get that game back up and running for you guys. So hopefully we have that soon. Best tackle and bait shops in Emory besides Lake Fork Marina. Oak Ridge Marina is probably one of the best per square foot tackle shops there is. I mean, it's small, but they got a lot of really useful stuff that's hard to find in Oak Ridge Marina. I'm a big fan of Oak Ridge Marina as a tackle store. What size hollow bellies would I throw for the fall pattern? The hollow bellies I will start getting away from when the water gets kind of below 65. I will go to the Smash Tech Convict and I will throw big swim baits in the fall. Big swim baits.
The 12 inchers.
No, they're like 7, 8 inches, but
so not the big convicts.
No, the convict is a 7-inch bait.
That's only 7 inches?
It looks way bigger. I know it's deceptive, but yeah.
Well, when I look at things, they look bigger. I mean, they look bigger than they actually are.
We can't go there, Z, but I know what you're saying, and you're right. You do say things are a lot bigger than what they actually are. That's 100% correct. Your wife told me that, by the way. You should do a fishing tournament somewhere in Houston.
Here we go.
We make Keaton uncomfortable all the time. Got to go bathe the little ones. Y'all be 5 keepers. We appreciate you joining us, bud. Need some big guy hoodies. I actually think I still have big guy hoodies. I can't remember what sizes I have left, but I'll check on that. And we're going to get new hoodie designs for this winter as well. That's what she said. # ask your mom. Yeah, it's all coming in. These are great comments. See, we may have lost 2 subscribers tonight, but look how much fun the rest of us are having. So the hell with them too.
You got the best fans on YouTube right
Yeah,
now.
it ain't the
That's
biggest
awesome.
crowd, but it's the best crowd. 5X. Okay, we gotta get
Quality
5X.
over quantity.
That's it. That's it. I wouldn't trade none of these guys for nothing. There was something up here that I missed. What is the best way to throw a jig? Well, that's a hard question because a jig is really, really, really versatile. And there's all different kinds of jigs. Like, which jig do you want to know the best way to throw? Do you want to know the best way to throw a swim jig? Or a football jig? Or a flipping jig? You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard question to answer. Probably the most versatile one is going to be like a 3/8 ounce or a 1/2 ounce flipping style jig. That's why I like the hybrid jig from 6 Cents because I can do anything with it. But the best way to fish a jig, in my opinion, day in, day out, is very, very slow. Just very, very slow. Tends to get the bigger bites.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're fishing, 28 foot of water, you're going to sling it out there. But if you're fishing shallow water stumps, grass lines, or even docks, more than likely you're going to be flipping it out there or pitching it.
Right, and then also too, even when you are fishing deep and you're slinging it out there, where you're actually going to get bit, it's going to be a spot about that big. So you got to keep it in there as long as possible. So I just think that a jig just can't be fished too slow. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got a bite on a jig when it's just almost sitting dead still on the bottom.
Just dead still.
That skirt's just flaring, doing its thing. Crawls are kicking up a little bit and you get bit. One is if you want to catch numbers of fish or do you want to catch big fish. The best way to fish a swim jig for numbers is going to be to put a crawl trailer on there like the Smash Crawl from Smash Tech or a Rage Crawl, whatever crawl bait you want where the legs are flat. That's all you need. And you're actually going to burn this thing and wake it right under the surface around grass edges. That's the best way for numbers. And you'll see fish blow up on it. Don't stop. Just keep it coming. And they'll blow up on it 2-3 times and finally they'll T-bone it and they'll get it. But for a big fish, the best way to do it is put a 5-inch paddle tail swim bait on there, like a smash tail or a hollow body from Smash Tech. One of those type of 5-inch profile swim baits. Put that on there and just medium to slow roll it. That's how you catch some big.
That's gonna get your bigger bites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy. North Texas Fishing says he was fishing a hybrid jig for the first time on some offshore rock piles, and it would not hang up where other baits would not stay out of the rock. So, yes, it is a phenomenal bait. Comes through cover. It, to me, is the best blending of coming through cover efficiently and hooking fish in the top of the head where you want them. It does it better than any other jig out there, in my opinion. Best early fall bait, in my opinion, I'll give you two, and it's going to be a lipless crankbait and a wacky worm. Best early fall bait, in my opinion, right there, those two. Any tips on Hallbrook? Brush piles and points. Brush piles and points, and then brush piles and points. They should be in the brush piles right now. As things progress, they will get shallower on those points, and they will go to schooling. They school excellent in the fall on Hallbrook, so there you go. Have I thought about joining the Guggen Squad? I haven't received that invite yet. I'm a little bit not on their level, just in case you didn't know, but yeah, no, I have not received an invite to join the Guggen Squad.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would definitely help my business. There ain't no doubt about it.
I mean, if that happens, it might turn into the Goober Squad. Damn, Billy. Goober Billy.
Well played, Z. The lighting is better in my garage. Yeah, the lighting probably is better. I do need to work on lighting here. I haven't even thought about that, but yeah, we need to work on lighting in here. Because we're backlit back there behind me in the living room is one of the main problems. I appreciate what you're saying, Jason. Somebody said you're on random skill says you're on our level, brother. That's right. I'm on y'all's level, and that's all that matters.
Hey, man of the people. Right here. Man of the people.
Yeah, I have fun with it either way. We're going to have fun. Yeah, the Guggens, they come fishing with me, man. I take them fishing. Somebody said they fished on my boat all spring. No, listen, job than mine. But they're the best at what they do. I don't think I'm the best at what I do, but I try to be as good as I can at what I do. But it's two different goals in mind. For what I do, the way my YouTube channel functions works tremendously. For what they do, it obviously works better than anything else out there. So, what do I think about the Guggen baits? Somebody says they think they're copies of Strike King Rage 6. They're not copies. They're different baits altogether. They did get the rights to the Rage patent, but they paid for that. the people that own the patent agreed to let them use it. So yeah, they have the same rage flange deal on some of their baits, but they didn't copy. Their baits are all different. What's the weirdest thing I've caught fishing? I caught an umbrella. That was tough getting that up off the bottom.
I bet it was.
Yeah, I caught an umbrella.
Almost as hard as that steel toe boot I had to pull up.
Probably an umbrella cover is probably the weirdest thing. I don't know. There's probably something weirder. I'm just not thinking of it. What is the best way to edit your YouTube videos? Just started my channel. Any tips? For me, the simpler the better. I'm not a real tech savvy guy, and GoPro Studio has the simplest editing software that even old redneck simpleton like me was able to get it to function. So that's why I use GoPro Studio. Adobe Premiere is what all the big boys use. John B and all them are using Adobe Premiere, and I mean those guys edit some of them videos look like Hollywood productions. I don't have the mental capacity to even use those programs.
Rhodes watching the live feed.
So one of my buddies just texted us, but what's my ideal deep crankbait rod? I use the 8-foot heavy 6-inch Lux rod with that moderate tip. To me, it's right. It's got the sensitivity of a graphite rod, which I do prefer over glass. It can cast it a mile, all that good stuff. It's 8-foot rod. It's got plenty of power. At the same time, it's got that tip to absorb that impact when they bite. So,
Keaton, what's your favorite deep diving crankbait rod?
Man, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm more of a pond fisherman. That's why I'm with these two guys right here. The rookie has to learn stuff. So, yeah.
Listen to the young man humbling himself.
Straight humbling.
I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due.
5 keepers. I love this comment. This comment of the night right here. By the way, there ain't no one who loves talking fishing more than me. Oh, we got kicked up. Especially with this group and Billy. But it's nice to hear normal people talk about different topics too. So,
absolutely.
There you go. It is what it is, man. That's what I've always done, man. I've always brought you guys, what's going on. Whatever it is right now. And right now in my life, we're fishing a little bit. I'm taking guys, I'm doing my thing. But the fishing's a little tough, but we're grinding out the bites the way we have to. But we got a fantasy football draft.
Well, I mean, that's a great thing.
And I'm all jacked up about it, so we're going to talk about it.
That's the great thing about Billy's YouTube channel. Yes, it's about fishing. Yes, it's about helping you as a fan to catch more and bigger fish. But it also brings you into Billy's life. And in turn, brings you into my life and my family's life as well.
Which sometimes ain't so pretty, guys.
Probably not a good idea, but
sometimes it ain't so pretty.
It's extremely scary.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Extremely scary.
Thinking about getting a 711 heavy moderate composite rod. That is a great cranking rod. Man, we're getting kicked off the signal again. Trying to anyway. That's a great cranking rod, and there's a lot of people that prefer those composites. A lot of people prefer the glass. I'm a graphite guy. I want the sensitivity. That's just my opinion. Well, man, we've been on for easily over 30 minutes, so we're going to wrap it up. If you guys are playing fantasy football, best of luck to you. Somebody, please, in the comments, wish them 2 luck, because they about to get it handed to them.
Defending champ, baby. That's
I'm taking the money home this year, boys.
Lucky. Just like I said, 3 10-pounders on a wacky worm. Dude's got a golden horseshoe in his pocket. He ain't got no skill at nothing. You said 3 earlier in the video.
And then you reminded me of the 10. Yeah, so it is 4.
This guy, see, you didn't even know what's true with him sometimes.
Hey, look, I catch so many I lose count.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, he's about to run out of fingers, so he'll be screwed after that. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you joining us. Love each and every one of you. You guys are the best audience out there. I don't care what the count says. Doesn't matter. 10,000, 100,000. Y'all are the best group out of all of them, and I appreciate you for it. So we'll see y'all next time right here on your Lake Fork Fantasy Football Guide channel.